You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Chiro Thin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Zingit Solutions, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, True Chiro, the Social Health Experts Summit, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, and Chiro Moguls. Let's hustle. Hey everybody, Jim Chester here, 10X in the house, but it's bigger than that. I have Andrew Bilak here with me today, and caution. The chatbots are coming, they're alive. I know you guys are probably ready for this, but we're going to explain to you why you should be ready for this. But Andrew, before we jump into our episode today, this is an afternoon edition, and it's sponsored by the Universal Traction System. Their website, I'm going to flash on the screen quickly for everybody to see. It is utsspine.net, and reach out to Dr. Jason Yaeger. He will sort you guys out with all the information you need for curve correction therapy. Jason and I came in touch with each other almost a decade now. Can you believe that, Dr. Yaeger? A decade. Anyways, let's get on to topic. Andrew, let's jump right into this thing and talk about my notes. Where did they go? Notes. The messenger. Let's talk about this messenger thing and what's going on with the Facebook Messenger. And let's talk about like how it started and where we are with it now.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me on. Appreciate that. Funny story. You and I just recently met, and now I'm here. So it's funny how things work out, and I'm super excited about this.
Well, I'm excited to have you, man, and I think that you're going to add a lot of value to our listeners and give them tools and resources. And if I learned anything over the weekend at 10X, is the person with the most tools wins. Okay, and here's something. I closed out my last live with this, Andrew, and who made the most money during the gold rush?
Oh, you're asking me, the guys with the shovel.
Yes, you got it. You must know ClickFunnels.
I've heard that story and it resonates. Just like, man, you got to sell the shovels, forget the gold.
Exactly. And that's just it, is now we have to give people the tools and the resources that they deserve in today's this market that's full of static and noise. And one of the things that you've learned how to do is cut through the static and noise, and you became an expert at something in this messenger space. Let's talk a little bit about what messenger is now.
Yeah, absolutely. So for any of you who don't know what messenger chatbots are, I'm sure a lot of you, when you hear the word chatbot, you just think of that annoying widget on the website that pops up and says, can I help you with anything? And it's more annoying than helpful. But for the most part, I get a lot of that. When I ask, rooms full of people, and the first thing they do is raise their hands and say, yes, that's what I think it is. But it's not that. In a sense, it mimics it. It looks like it. But messenger chatbots are a way for, it's a kind of computer program that mimics a conversation between an interaction between two people. And so essentially that entire conversation is automated. You create these chatbot ecosystems where you can put all of, your story about who you are from a chiropractic perspective, who you are, the services that you have, you can drip out content to them that's super valuable, that keeps you top of mind. The power here behind chatbots, messenger chatbots, is incredible because you have a way to reach a much larger audience in a way that they want to be met. But you also can focus on the things that you need to focus on more, and that's growing your practice.
Yeah, and I always I learned this a long time ago, making my first documentary film. One of the guys I interviewed said, "Hey, if I have something I need done, I just ask an expert and I stick with them."
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Seeing people that find expert space and they own it, that's super important. So let's talk a little bit about your growth pattern and how you've gotten into the chiropractic space and how you've been serving the chiropractic profession.
Yeah, so it actually started what feels like almost a year and a half, 2 years ago. My business partner and I expanding across different industries and niches, and an opportunity came out where we connected with a guy named Chris Burfield, and real forward thinker. We connected right away, and he happened to be in the chiropractic space, and we knew nothing about the space, right? And from jumping into chatbots 2 years ago, you don't just jump into a market and think that, based on your assumptions, everything is going to be correct. That's the worst way you could possibly do it. And so with Burfield, we had that in-depth knowledge. He walked the walk, he talked the talk, told us about chiropractic, about, the behaviors, how, chiropractors, when it comes to their marketing, are stuck in the Stone Age, and that there's a really tight-knit community of them, and that they need to be able to step into 2019 and be able to market, at the time, 2018, 2017, to market their business properly in a way that wasn't going to bog them down. Because as we know, chiropractors sometimes, take on, taking a look at patients, managing their staff, managing the practice. But then, when it comes to marketing, it's kind of like you're behind the 8 ball. And so our trajectory into that space was, how can we help chiropractors share their message to the people that they know, their patients, their prospects, and get them the message that they need to hear from this chiropractor in a way that people want to be met. And this is where the intersection of messenger chatbots and chiropractic intersect, because Messenger boasts 1.3 billion monthly active users. And that's huge. Like you have a massive market out there. And the top 4 social media or messaging apps just surpassed the top 4 social media apps as of a year and a half ago. And so that's not a fad. That's a trend. This is predictive of where the future is going to go, and how more and more people communicate via Messenger. I mean, WhatsApp, Messenger, text message, iMessage, whatever it is, people spend the majority of their time on messaging platforms. And so it only made sense to allow chiropractors to create this space to be able to market, tell them who they are, their testimonials, what they do, who they serve, how they do it, in a way that would reach as many people as possible. And that's where this space is. It's so exciting, because it's, it can be overwhelming for a lot of chiropractors who go, okay, I understand I need to do social media. And they're just like, if I get on Facebook, does that mean I need to get on Instagram? Does that mean I need to do Snapchat, this and that? And the benefit here is that Messenger is part of the Facebook family. And so is Instagram. So you can literally run ads for your clinic, for your services, if you're that advanced, and essentially tap into people on every single one of those platforms. And then as soon as someone comes into your chatbot ecosystem, the minute that they opt into your chatbot, whether it be your website, whether it be these social media platforms, whether it's your email list, the power there is that that's 100% of cold traffic that you just captured and you now own. So it's just like opting into an
stuff out, and you turn enough digital wrenches, to get this thing to work the right way and optimize it the right way, which I think is just absolutely amazing. I know that there's people out there watching. If you guys are watching this, the number one thing I would ask you guys to please do for us is to show us the love with those hearts. Smash that heart button, and please give us a share to this. I know that there's so many people out there that what I stand for matters, and that's giving you guys information that you can stand behind and trust. So if you do think that there's value in this, please hit that share button and let our audience live outside the 4 walls of this conversation. And if you guys are finding value in this, please hashtag value. Jennifer Mendez says, chatbots are the future. Heck yeah, they are. And anybody that wants to jump on board, Jennifer and her team do the chatbots as well. They're awesome. Her and her husband do that. And we had a question here. It's from Joe Habshide, and he says, what about HIPAA? How does this chatbot stuff work with HIPAA?
Right. So there's a way to do that with HIPAA to ensure that, information isn't shared directly with Facebook. There's a few different ways you can do it, but you always have to keep in mind that as long as you preface those people that, this information, if they want to, share certain information, it's best to do it in a different limelight or in a different medium. So right away, you can preface them and let them know that if there's, certain things you want to discuss, to not necessarily get yourself into a sticky situation, you take that conversation offline or into the office. So there's different ways to build HIPAA compliant chatbots, and we're very aware of how that has to be done, so not to get ourselves into any hot water.
Hey, yeah, and I get it too, man. And that's, as we were doing a pre-interview talk, I was like, so no topics are off limits, no topics are off limits. Cool. Let's talk about whatever you want to ask me, and I'll ask you stuff too. So I think that that's one of the things that this does is it exposes us at a massive level. And thank you for having the confidence to take that tough question. And as we go into this, let's talk a little bit about the trends in marketing. I know you're a specialist at this new school marketing, but let's talk a little bit about the I guess the converse between old school and new school. And what I've been able to do is teach people how to sell chiropractic. And why do you think that we need to have a direction for people in the chiropractic space to do both of these?
Well, that's a really good question. And I guess the best way to kind of tackle this is that, I'm a firm believer in utilizing tools that make sense for not just, marketing perspective, but to make sense for the industry that they're in. And the fact that, chiropractors, the chiropractic industry is attached to this old school way of marketing. Messenger allows you the ability to tie in all of the existing social media platforms that you use. So like I said, you can have a chatbot that exists through your social media, through your website, through your CRM, and all of this will tie back into that. So you have this one centralized marketing tool, which is Messenger, but it can exist on all of the platforms you use. So it's not just another tool that you've added that you have to worry about. It's one that you can add that can integrate itself into everything that you do. And with that being said, I mean, I'd love to know more about, you've built a brand for yourself. You've been doing this for a while. And even though we just met, I did my homework, but I'd love to know, how that, me kind of revealing where I see the future of this going, how that kind of implicates, people that or doctors that are in that old school way still of thinking.
Well, I call those type of groups the conveyor belt technologists. And most of the people are still getting educated in this world and with conveyor belt technology standards. And I think that what we haven't realized is that time has sped up so fast that the most important thing is the customization. The most important thing is the customization of communication. As you're saying, the app world is gravitating towards the communication aspect of the platform. Everybody wants to have an easier way to have access to each other. And I think that with, like you said, mini chat or whatever, the other deal, where you can talk to anybody around the world, that messenger service. I forget what it's called even. WhatsApp, yeah. Even like that with WhatsApp, mini chat, this whole different world about what people are kind of like learning how to, turn the wrenches, like I like to say. And then you optimize. But I think you have to learn how to optimize by trusting experts. And, one of the things I like to kind of open the door for to people is understanding that old school marketing still works. Conveyor belt style marketing still works, but you have to change it. You have to turn and optimize it differently. So it's not a chiropractic screen anymore. It's a scheduling event. And it's not I'm going to find out, I'm not going to tell you if you're qualified or not. I'm going to tell you that we can help you. And I think it's all about the communication style that we use with people. Find out who they are, where they're from, what's going on, tell them that you can help them, ask them if they're interested and schedule them. And then let them know that there is a follow-up process, which don't steal this, guys. I call it the human funnel system. You meet the person on the front end, the lead magnet person that's out there that meets people in public. You teach them how to communicate. You teach them how to frame people to show up. You teach people then that when they show up, what to do when they show up. And then the doctor learns how to do what they do on the back end and to convert that person into care, and then to get that person to refer. That's what I call the human funnel system, whether it's coming from a digital standard of yours or whether it's coming from an old school marketing strategist like I have. Each one works. And I think that you have to bookend the profession with both of them. I think that you have to give people what's working and that's passive. And I think you have to get people out there to their community so they don't lose touch with their community as well. So I think you have to do community-driven events, but I think you also have to back in that with proper online strategies and marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think the people at Facebook, when they were developing this, is they had that in mind of kind of bringing bringing together both those different schools of thought. But at the same time, what's really interesting is that you can actually take Messenger offline with something called scannable messenger codes, and they're kind of human funnel system, and they're essentially scannable codes that you can put on a business card. If you're having dinner with the doc, if you're having spinal screenings, if you're doing anything offline, and you're having an event, you're telling people, hey, like scan into this instead of, hey, sign up, leave your email or anything like that. The minute someone signs into it, it's all that they do is pull out Messenger, they scan the code. Right away, that person is a subscriber right into your chatbot. And once again, you now have the ability to follow up with them whenever you would like.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Close for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Chiro Thin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Zingit Solutions, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, True Chiro, the Social Health Experts Summit, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, and Chiro Moguls. Let's hustle. So let's give some nuts and bolts to people. I know you mentioned dinners. I know you mentioned effectiveness of chatbots. Now let's give some nuts and bolts to people. What are you actually seeing convert for people that are using chatbots? Yeah,
absolutely. So like I said, or like you mentioned, there's kind of two schools of thought there, right? The old school and the new school. The new school are seeing fantastic results with running it with Facebook ads. Just because you eliminate the whole landing page element. So if you have a value prop that's out there, you have a special, instead of sending someone to your website hoping they convert there, or sending someone to a landing page, you're sending them to the chatbot. So as soon as someone opts in, traffic you now control, and they can subsequently go redeem that value prop. And so Facebook ads, in conjunction with this, for the new school operators in the chiropractic industry, it's gangbusters. And then on the old school way, there's patient acquisition and retention chatbots, which kind of are these automated drip sequences, kind of like an email drip sequence, something along those lines. But essentially, for an old school person who wants to stay present without actually posting 3, 4, 5 times a day and being on all these channels, the minute someone opts into their chatbot, whether it's passively or proactively, they can get subscribed to a drip sequence, literally sending them a message through Messenger once a day or once a week, for however many weeks, providing that value and staying top of mind. And the really interesting part about that is that it challenges, email, because email fatigue, open rates and click-through rates for email have just absolutely, hit rock bottom over the years as more and more people used it. Where in Messenger, you're seeing open rates as high as 80 to 100%, and click-through rates from 60, 70% upwards. And the reason being is that when someone gets a message sent to their Messenger inbox, it shows up on the home screen of their phone just like a text message or an email. And unlike email, people who are in Messenger actually communicate with their friends and family there. So it's not like your email inbox where you take a look at it and the red little box says 5,698 emails and counting every day, and you'll never clean that out. You'll never look at it. But with Messenger, that's the whole notion, is that people are using that to talk to their friends and family and want to continue to use that medium. Old school, new school, bring it together.
I just want to show you guys how ridiculous this is, because he hit one of my pain points. I have 27,743 emails that are in my inbox that I haven't touched. So you're right, man. And then here's a really cool thing is when you're doing a chatbot sequence to people, you know what you get to do with those people? You get to have lunch with them. You get to have dinner with them. You get to go on their commutes with them. You get to be a part of their transitioning. And I think that that's something that we kind of take for granted with how much we can communicate with people. Now you can force people's hand in a way to say either yes or no. And I think that that's one of the most creative ways about marketing is you get people to the point to say yes or no. And I love the idea of getting people to have to take some type of an action. Like if you're on an email subscription list and you don't want anymore, you have to actually go there and unsubscribe. And I think that forcing people's hands to take action in the digital realm is really where we're going. Otherwise, we end up with 27,000 some odd emails. And the open rates have changed too. 30% of the people might open up an email. I think it's something like 10% of the people will answer your phone call if they don't know you. And then it goes to 90% of people open up a text message. So you have to go where the roads of communication are leading to. And we're becoming more of an optimized social group of people that we prefer the quick messaging as opposed to even sitting down and writing an email.
Oh, absolutely. Instantaneous, like that's what people are craving now, because our attention is drawn in so many different ways that people want to get responses quicker when they talk to a business. Even if your response time is within 5 minutes, by all means, that's impressive, but that doesn't cut it in today's day and age. You need to be able to respond instantaneously, and chatbots through these automated messages allow you to do that, whether you're sitting on a couch on a Sunday evening at 5 o'clock, or whether you're connected to Wi-Fi on a plane at 30,000 feet. This is that customer service agent, that representative, your CA, your inside salesperson, who will respond with a grade A quality smile and that superior customer service experience time and time again.
I love it, man. I love that where we're going with this talk. So let's say that somebody wants to have you help them out and they want to say, hey, I just need to get an idea about if what you do is right for me. How do they reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can reach me at Andrew at Royalwood Media. So that's ROYALWOODMEDIA.com. Andrew at royalwoodmedia.com. And just drop me a line, and I'm happy to chat with anyone. There's no pressure, just discovery. I spend a lot of time educating people on what chat is, and it's really interesting. The one thing I do want to add is that a lot of people are kind of with the transition that Facebook went through last year with Cambridge Analytica and everything like that. It's funny to see how people are hashtag dump Facebook, quit Facebook. But at the end of the day, people don't realize how entrenched they are in the other pillars of that Facebook owns. WhatsApp, Instagram, Messenger is his own silo, and then obviously Facebook. And unless you fully rid yourself of that, you'll never rid yourself of Facebook. And on the flip side of that, the real interesting thing is that as of actually last week, Facebook announced that it actually got leaked that Facebook is going to integrate all three of all of their different platforms. So WhatsApp, Instagram, Messenger, and Facebook are essentially, you're going to be able to be on one of those, like Instagram, and be able to communicate with someone else on WhatsApp, vice versa. And then Instagram, Messenger, so you don't have to leave that platform. And now if you're thinking about it from a chat perspective, that's going to mean that you can now, Messenger has 1.3 billion monthly active users. You'll now be able to have access to 3+ billion monthly active users by just that cross-pollination. So if you're, an early adopter, if you're someone who wants to get in, it's still early days for it. But the really exciting part is that it's moving into these cross-platform collaborations that are just going to be game changers for marketing, for businesses, for doctors.
I love it, dude. And that's why I called this episode Caution, the chatbots are coming, they're alive. Because I do think that if people realize how important it is to get with the times, I always, there's that whole bell curve. You have the early adopters, you have the late stage adopters, you have the laggards, and you have the never wills kind of. And I think that we're still in that first part of the bell curve with chatbots, that if people are really interested in the platform, it's still early adopter stages per se, before this thing really goes to the point where you'll just be another face in the crowd. So I do urge people to take action. And that's one of the cool things about what we do with Chiro Hustles. We build solutions for people, and we connect the dots for people with services to give them to people that might need it. So I just want to say thank you for being on the show today, man.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Yeah. So is there anything I didn't ask you today that you'd like to share with our audience?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not about kind of sleazy marketing techniques. It's not about, you guys know, as doctors, you focus on providing and helping those people who need that help. And at the end of the day, you only have so much time, and you need to focus on what it is that you do best. So it's always great to just take a step back and explore what's available and what's up and coming and what's here now that can help take your business into the now without shouldering that heavier burden. And I really appreciate you for, not just having me on, but taking a look at all the great stuff that you're doing, even though we just met, taking a look at the Facebook Lives that you do and the awesome doctors that you have on. I've had the great pleasure of meeting a few of those doctors. It started, meeting Burfield and getting into the chiropractic space and meeting people like Billy Sticker, Ryan Reeder, Matt Loop, Dr. Mike Reed. These are all awesome people. And I'm just excited to get to know more people such as yourself and these other great people in the chiropractic space.
Well, hey, man, we're going to 10X this thing together. I just came back from the 10X group gathering down in Miami, and I learned a couple things down there, but I learned one of the most things to do is ask our people that we work with what we're proud of in each other, ask each other what we can work on, become a little bit more transparent to each other, and you can get on a different wavelength of success when you realize maybe that one X factor thing that somebody close to you might share with you that they wouldn't share with you unless you discovered it or they were able to tell you. So I would say everybody break down your barriers a little bit and don't get so stuck in your own lane that you're not open to communicating with the people on your team and the people that will push you forward. So with that being said, if you guys did find value in this, please hit that share button. I know it's hot. Just hit the share button and push this through so other people can hear about the chatbots. And if you guys did find value in this, hashtag value. If you're watching it on replay and you got this far, hashtag replay in there so we know that you watched it. I want to say thanks again to Jason Yaeger with the Universal Traction System. It's utsspine.net. Reach out to him, give him some love, and thank him for supporting Chiro Hustle, and check out what he's doing with curve correction therapy and the CBP model. Just a big shout out to everybody that you mentioned, Sticker, Burfield, Loop, Reed, all those good guys out there that are supporting chiropractic. Love you guys. And Andrew, I almost said Dr. Andrew. Thank you for being my guest today.
Absolutely. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
All right, man, I'm going to close out. You guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.